Welcome, Music Multiverse listeners, to Album Review Saturdays 2025, episode 7. And what? It's Monday? Yes, yes. You know, when you prepare for these things and you do the work and something happens, you don't just throw it away and go, well, it's just Mark, and leave the person on the cutting floor. You don't do it. You don't do it because this week is a special reason. So,
Oops.
uh, I I don't know if everybody knows this, but this is obviously an extension of the article section, which I didn't put out either because I didn't want to give away any secrets or anything at that point. So the article will go out today too. Um, so just go on beyondyourradio.com if you so choose. And if you don't read, hey, you're in the right place. If you don't know already, this on the program, Deb Armitage Hicks Maloney, right? So this is album review Saturday, and we get all these records all together, and you never know what you're going to get. And we got a hodgepodge today, different all over the place, any kind of genre. So we're reviewing an artist that I hadn't heard of, and the only reason I had her on the show is because her last name is Maloney. And so, I mean, how could you not? I mean, this is kin. So, no, probably not related. But anyway, well, actually, aren't we all related in the kingdom of God?
Hmm.
We're all in this together, right? Yes. Speaking of all
Yeah.
in this together, let's remember that we're all in this together in the middle album when a band that's been the prog metal juggernaut that it is comes back and everyone's back together again. Holy shit. We'll see how that goes. Our third review is a singer-songwriter that's been a buzz here and a buzz there. NPR indie multi-instrumental favorites in the music scene, got a wide palette, tends to shift musically from time to time. Now, with an interesting sound and attachment, we're checking to see if her indie rock takes us somewhere else in 2025. So let's do this thing. Let's get into some new albums. First up, Deb's sister, uh, Heather Maloney, Exploding Star. Well, while you were thinking we did this because the last name fits the fabulous name of our panelist and part of her acronym, it's not the real reason. It's actually the buildup and I don't know what do you call it, closing action or following action of the 19 albums of Joni Mitchell. So
Eh.
in actuality, Miss Maloney here, singer, songwriter, guitarist, was reviewed in the New York Times for her Woodstock cover, but with Darling Side. So while there is always some way you will get a slight comparison to the greatest singer-songwriter in female music history, it's a wonderful way to get intrigued and possibly into Miss Maloney's new album, Exploding Star. Now, for those of you that in the artwork environment, I want to say the person who drew this might have actually also done Caligula's horse because it has that same
Yeah.
coloring and dimension, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Anyway, um, so there's always a pathway, someone to get to an artist, because if there's not, well, it's as hard as doing a website, YouTube channel, and podcast from a basement in Williamsville, and spread it to the masses. It's just not going to happen. So, but there's always a great chance when you have some respected channels in your field paying attention, and Heather Maloney might just be worth paying more attention to. I would also wonder, with our readers out there, our subscribers, did you actually know she has, what, 7 or 8 prior albums? I bet
I
you don't.
didn't know. Nope.
Also that she worked with Band of Horses, Taylor Goldsmith of the Dawes, not to mention Taylor's brother was playing in the band alongside her with some people from Amos Lee's band. So this is a veteran who's got some chops. She's open for Gary Clark Jr., Rodrigo Gabriela, Sean Colvin, and Dar Williams. I'd say Dar Williams is probably the closest thing in the set list. So heavy resume. She's expanding her presence, has a great handling of guitar, I think, too.
Yeah.
So let me first say I was getting slightly earsick at the start of this album. Labyrinth in the Weeds is the first track. It's coming in and out. It's coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, But as the song continued, I started to think that, Jesus, this is incredible folk rock crescendo she's creating. Because when you think of a labyrinth, what do they always do? They pan back and show you its immensity. And then they go forward again. So actually, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I was going to get sick. So very clever. It was unique. Her vocal has a charisma and charm that leads the lyrics right to you. And I think that's important. But what do I mean by that? There is an incredible amount going on, from the lyrical patterns and the vocal inflections to the incoming instruments and the sudden closeness of some instruments. It's marvelously recorded. It elevates the plucking.
Green of my brow, where are you now? Are you furrowing under the brown? Are you brittle and bare deep down? Where are you, perennial? Are you perennial? Green of my life, come this July, will every Susan have a black eye?
And then, of course, it's like the breath of her singing. There's also this she has this awareness of when she's going to dangle a note, or when she's going to wheezer, or when she's going to whimper. So her vocal is the center, but the strings and the harmonies find their magical place, ascending the melody and the message. So that particular track is called To a Special No One. Well, there's millions of us. Yeah, unite. I'm a special no one.
Unite.
I think High T is on the track with her. I don't know who High T is, but I'm going to go down that rabbit hole eventually. There's a cool unknown folk and rock duo to explore if you want. That's what they are. So,
Okay.
Deb, where this is your kin. You're gonna do a immediate
oh yeah, I'm texting her right now.
Ancestry chart thing. You're gonna have it sent to her. You're gonna look for royalties.
Because she's from New Jersey, so it's not that exotic. So I don't know if I'm related to anybody in New Jersey, but she's got an interesting background, I have to say. And her background kind of will help you understand all of the things that you just pointed to, Mark, because yes, her vocals drive her songs for sure. And she's a classical operatic trained singer. That makes sense as to where she knows to dangle that note, so to speak, and evoke emotion. Opera could be done without any sets, right? So I felt that, I saw her comparison to Joni Mitchell, and like we talked about, Joni Mitchell, as far as a singer goes, just leaves me not impressed, but her songwriting obviously is what her forte is. I think that Heather has songwriting and a beautiful voice that takes her to a different level than Joni Mitchell, dare I say. But she's a lover of storytellers. And she actually loves a storyteller that I love, and he's more of a contemporary storyteller, but it's not fiction. He is a documentarian, Ken Burns. She loves Ken Burns. And she did on one of her albums a song called Oklahoma Lullaby with Jay, you got it? Yep. Jay Unger, who scored Ken Burns' The Civil War.
Yep.
And that song is paying homage to the Dust Bowl. And I just watched that documentary a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
The Dust Bowl by Ken Burns. I told you, I know something about Ken Burns. It makes sense that she's had music theory, jazz training, classical training, that she loves storytelling. She found music, actually. She's lived and worked at a silent meditation resort, camp, convent, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it was a convent, but she was there for 3 years. And she had to go through long periods of time of silence, 3 days at a time. And what do you think you do with your brain? Well, hopefully you do something that's productive. And I think that she did, instead of something you know, some of these songs, like you said, Labyrinth in the Weeds, I knew you were going to say something about that because I felt exactly the same way. It wasn't distressful to me though, because I think I've gotten used to some of the bad things you make me listen to. I didn't find this bad.
Well, was it in your were you listening to it just regular, or did you have it in your headphones?
I had it in my headphones.
Yeah, because that's where I went through it the first time without it, and then I put it on, I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm starting to okay.
But then, you know, like you said, the guitar plucking, really gentle. I felt that her songs were pretty melancholy. Like the song Things I Thought I Needed. That's very melancholy. And I
Yeah.
think that we all start to think of those things, especially after COVID. But there's whimsical moments in this album too. Like Angelfish was a little bit more lighthearted and fun, but still don't take that as it was something silly.
Correct. No, no.
At all. I did want to ask you though, Mark, what was the point of her doing that Night Bloomer twice? Night Bloomer NJ and Night Bloomer MA. Now I'm assuming NJ is New Jersey and MA is Massachusetts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know anything about that? That's the
Well,
only question
here's
I
what I
had.
know about the record itself.
Okay.
So, ninth album, okay. It's very exposed. It's a tender, it's an open environment that has the comfort that brings you in close and production notes to hold you there, as well as the beautiful details of scripting this record for it to unfold. This was never supposed to be released. She didn't want it released. She wrote this to the father's death, and
See?
her
Yeah.
father's guitar is the only thing she's playing.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay. So at least that's how she states it. So the strength in her convictions, the profession she has, and the light in her delivery of words is alluring. It's frank, yet not bitter. Okay.
Right.
There's no
Yes.
bitterness here, which is great. Okay. So Ordinary World, right? This is a wonderful interpretation of Duran Duran's hit. Another example of the compatibility of the musical smarts from the plucking, the hand drums. I think there's even a banjo in it all. So that it just comes out. I can't even imagine how she would even consider withholding such a wonderful representation of an art of this being made or put out. I mean, this is what artists do. They expose themselves. Well, that didn't sound good. They
Right.
expose their emotions in this, and this album is a catalyst to go back. Okay, my music multiverse friends, because I see this as a reverse pattern, like the Christopher Nolan Memento. You're gonna start here, but you're gonna have to go backwards, and you can go backwards just by going backwards. And I think my lyrical mind want to make a greater connection and seeking out what has led to such an exploding star. And I think that's where this is and where it needs to be. And this could be, I mean, she's already got people she's involved with. I'm sure she makes more money than I do in profession wise, but I think this is a person who needs to be elevated to a different position in the music multiverse. And this is a great record for that to happen with.
I agree.
So now we'll move on to all right. Let's move on to the cataclysmic progressive metal band that's coming. Right. The very definition of this album leads directly into All Things That Are Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? Well, duh, of course it is. This is one of those bands that their sound and delivery is inescapable. They are a progressive metal band, but one that has all kinds of musical chops. They got expressions, a unique, playful, dark pop connection. Yeah, let's face it. All right, there is nothing scary about this album.
No,
You can parasomnia. You can have a ghost. You can have it's the same thing as Enter Sandman with Metallica. There's nothing scary about it except that little bit, of course, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. Those little innuendos of someone talking to you rather than the singing. Although I would put the singing Metallica a little bit ahead in darkness instead of a Labrie. But you can lead that lead right into Night Terror any way you like. All right, but it's still just a lovely progressive metal with poppin' stance. All right, and a drummer
Stance, yeah.
that's fucking killer. Mike Portnoy. His drum set is infinite. All right, he's a third arm. I don't know what it is. But he's back in the band and he lets you know it, and I'm not a drummer by any means, but damn it, I can hear him. I think I got whiplash several times. I call it the tom-tomarang. It's like he's like a boomerang, right? So it comes around. It's duck. It's coming.
Crazy.
Let's explore the variety of scary on this album instead, okay? Because I think the fan base is very fractured, like that of Metallica. I don't know the fan base that well. I'm not an aficionado of Dream Theater. One of my friends actually loves Dream Theater. Maybe loves all incarnations. I have every album, but I go in and out. I don't think I have any problem with any one of them. So no matter what I say, what I love, hate, or indulge or leave aside, the fan base is going to find some sort of problem with my thought process. So, which is not that surprising considering the band is basically King Crimson version of plastering of Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, and Rush. Okay? If you don't think so, stop. That's what they are. Okay? Yeah. And they're brilliant musicians. That's it. They're brilliant musicians. All right? And I sometimes you can't make me believe it's scary, no matter how you try. At 10 minutes in, they've already thrown 3 of those in a blender at full tilt. Yes, LaBrie's vocal is the Megadeth part. I know you were wondering what the Megadeth part was. But anyway, lighten up. What's scary on this album? The first and foremost is the insanely cool guitar wizardry of the man at the helm, okay? He is necking for a metal sinister as he can make it. Dipping anywhere near, and he stays far away from the Sabbath pool, which you could go to. Mm-hmm. And that's John Petrucci. He's a virtuoso. His playing unravels like a scroll and attacks on cue. It's the pumping heart, the anxiety, and the riff and groove of everything Parasomnia is in that area. The solos are amazing, and then some, as well as when they go a little darker. And the technical magician riding shotgun with 2 sticks of scary percussive conduction, like Portnoy. So he's doing his menacing stuff, punishing atmosphere, and of course, tom. So he's got that. They truly hold the first area of scary. Okay, scary good, metal, hard, goodness. Okay, darkness, whatever. Enter the progressiveness at the fingertips and groove and scary scaling of Jordan Rudess. You can't deny it. It's what gives the band the symphonic impression that they're able to somehow tangle with Petrucci, sonic slaying. This is what makes the band progressive. There's nothing else. If you don't have the keyboard and you don't have the piano and it's not progressive. He can move to hard blues keys into a darker psychedelic or lift a fusion composition. It's ridiculous. And it kind of substantiates any mood of darkness that they, spooky mood, scary mood, cobweb mood. I don't know. There's a cobweb mood. It's a pleasure, honestly, to listen to that part of it because it is what allows them to kind of be on the outside scope of everything, string arrangements, etc. It makes the band bigger in scope. They are not a progressive band, again, if there's not the passion and completion of Rudess. Whether he's using a keyboard, an organ, or, skinning a cat. I don't know. There was, I understand this. I'm talking about Rudis, right? Because he's the one on the record. Before that, it was Derek Sheridan. Before that, it was another individual, like Kevin Moore. All right, it's a necessity, and just appreciate the magical piece that is so important, and it's always scary well done on these records. Sometimes some of you might think it's a bit much or it's not enough. I don't know. That's depending on whether you're a Yes person or a Jethro Tull person or whatever you, right? So now the third part is scary. Enter Sandman. No, not that Sandman. The voice of the dream of such theater. He has such theater. The theater of soundskis. My name is James Labrie. He's not even British. I don't know why I'm doing that. By the delivery.
I was gonna have to throw my homework away. No.
The delivery is not scary. It's not near scary, but he's the vocal showman. He's beckoning you. Come on in. Come on in. The water's fine. We won't just do nothing but instrumentals, Deb. We're going to actually sing. All right. And that's the idea. It elevates the music that much further in the right places. And it's the pop, the rock, the progressive rock, the ballad, kind of passion. And it works with the swirling orchestra, the symphonic, and the metal mayhem around the record. It's sort of the Judas, not the Judas Priest, but the Iron Maiden of it all. Maybe the Judas Priest too. I didn't think of that. He's scary good, making that wholesome progressive metal record. So, Deb, after all my bullimagarchy of three series, give me your.
Well, luckily I know of Dream Theater, because I think if I had seen only 8 songs and it was an hour and a quarter long and 2 of the songs were only a minute long, I would have gone, I'm running out of here scared. But I know of Dream Theater. They got their name from an actual theater in Monterey, California. I think that's cool. Okay. So, yeah, they're self-described with all the usual suspects, the Rush, Yes, Floyd, Metallica, all that kind of stuff. 3 of the original members are married to 3 members of a metal band called Mean Streak, if you knew that. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they are. I don't know which ones. I didn't write all that down. Yeah, the titles of the songs, when I first pulled it up, I really was expecting to hate you. Arms of Orpheus. I mean, any progressive band has to have Orpheus in one of their names, right? You have to. It's the law. Midnight Messiah was the one that was Sandman, I think, that started.
Metallica, Megadeth.
Yeah, that feel.
Kind of shreddy.
Yeah. And then I'm glad you made mention of the vocals, because at first I'm just like, oh, please, come on. I don't want to hear scary Satan anymore. And it wasn't like that. But I kept thinking that if they don't bring me a song here soon that's got some real vocals to it, it's going to go down that path. But it did give me a song. Bend the Clock had great vocals. It reminded me of, you call them progressive for sure. They're not as famous as these other ones that were mentioned, but I did learn how to play one of their songs on the piano, and this song reminded me of Styx.
Oh yes, Styx.
Yeah, it gave me a Styx feel. And I'm usually turned off by songs that are more than 5 minutes long. Maybe it's my attention span, or I don't know if I miss the end of 1 or 4 songs.
Well, I guess
still on the same one, but
I won't be sending you
say,
any albums from sleep.
Well, the center of this album is the Shadow Man incident. It's almost 20 minutes long. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it closes the record too.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew, like, I think by the time I got to the end of that song, 3rd or 4th time, I was like, this was very jam-packed, full a lot of sensory stuff, but it was great. It was
sensory
great.
overload.
How long have they been around?
1989.
I was gonna say the 80s. It was after the traditional influx of all the prog stuff of the 70s and
I
that.
don't know why I want to say that, but I'll hang on.
I was gonna say 85, but I didn't read that anywhere. I didn't
It
write it
could
down.
be
I think it's
earlier
just
than
my
that. I'm
memory.
just not remembering. 85. 1985, Deb.
I don't even know where that came from because it was not, I've never owned one of their
Well, back
albums.
in 85, they were known as Majesty.
Yes. Yeah, they were. Majesty, you're right.
Majesty. Yeah.
Yep. So
That's
good choice for this week, Mark.
Oh, well, it had to be done. Everybody, everybody else is doing their review of it. They've already done it.
Yeah.
They get these albums ahead of me because
They must.
they're important people. I think.
Yeah, well, you're getting there, hon.
Yeah, I'm sure Portnoy's going to come up today. Just can't say. Oh, Tomarang, huh? Yeah. Okay, great.
Well, you tell those people I overcame the flu just to do this
Yeah, it's
show.
right. I'm doing this
Well,
show
2 days
today.
late, but
It's all right. It's done.
I'm not that much of a trooper.
All right. So you have no idea based on the picture. Some of these, the pictures didn't show up as well this time around. But this is Sharon Van Etten and the attachment theory. It could be Sharon Van Etten and the people next door to her. It could be Sharon Van Etten and some people playing. It could be Sharon Van Etten, just Sharon Van Etten. Is this a solo record? Is this a band record? It's a solo record. Let's dip back into the vibe of the 80s synth rock kind of passion here. But this is a lyrical chopstress at the top of it, the helm. So I got this feeling immediately that it wasn't going to be like we're going to be paying homage. This was going to be done because it was the idea of being it done, not trying to go back. But I was worried though, because the opening song had that Stranger Things keyboard and Merc and simply sung "Living Forever" question, right? I mean, I felt like suddenly we were going to be beaten down with some poorly executed Cure. All right.
Oh,
But this opening track seemed to be the feeling out of sorts, setting the dreamscape a bit. All right. So, and not, Parasomnia. So Sharon Van Etten and the Attachment Theory is the debut album, but it's a solo record. It's art pop indulgence that certainly draw in a vocal and synth crowd, as well as fantastically placed sonic guitar work in places. Kind of a surreal in context of her vocal pattern. It leaves and it comes back. It's comfortable, it's magical in places, and a hearkening to an underappreciated sound that came from an era that they seem to be handling very temperamentally. Her and the band's audio theories need more attachment, I thought. You can get it by the second and third listen, appreciating a hell of a lot more than catchiness of easy songs like Afterlife or Idiot Box. Which are crafted carefully and wonderful to be what they are, especially with the tones in the keyboard. But it's the other tracks that meld deeper and fall a little more sparse. This theory cannot last an entire 45-minute recording resting on the keys only and the creativity. So I'm glad that it didn't. It needs more, and that's where Sharon Van Etten shines. And while it starts with Idiot Box, it doesn't end there. So she lets drums, beats travel in, kind of egging things on, I guess, is my approach in this. I think there's even a bit of punk. I can't imagine why you feel this way. That sounded punky to me. Then she swaggers later in Southern Life, What It Must Be Like. She loves parentheses, apparently. There's production.
She's good at English.
Yes. All of this still hangs the synthesizer, while the supporting guitar, bass are also handling the escalation of tension or the rasp in her delivery. I believe it's intentional. It's positioned to be a kind of a Cure-like pop experience, I thought. hazy shade of darker gray harmony, maybe.
Mm,
But where are you with Sharon Van Etten? I'm sure you've heard of her before.
I have heard of her. I like her voice. It's the kind of female voice that I prefer. It's raspy.
Mhm.
It's got an earthy feel to it. In one of the songs, though, I think it was called "I Can't Imagine."
Mm.
I'm trying to read my scribbled notes. She had a little twist of Kate Pearson from the B-52s in there, and I thought, "Ooh, that's a little different." Um, it just was caught me off guard. Afterlife, was that the first song on
Yes.
their on that one? That had the Last Dinner Party feel to me. We
Oh,
did
yeah.
their album, like a mix between them and Pink. Um, I thought that some of her lyrics were clever. I know Idiot Box, all this time we can't get back was one of the lines in there, and here we are sitting in front of the device that became so famous during COVID, the Zoom, so we don't have to really interact with people. That's
Right.
our Idiot Box, right? um at Southern Life, I have that one written down. I felt that that was an example of how, even though this album didn't flow the way traditionally we think we'd like an album to flow, I felt that the placement of the songs, they were different, but I didn't find it off-putting. That I didn't feel like, where did that come from, that song? I felt like it still fit in with her sound and what she was going for. She's a survivor of domestic abuse, which is interesting, because that something like that, when you have those challenges in life, can lend you to write songs a different way than somebody that just, grew
Right.
up in the land of milk and honey, for sure. Um, she's an actress. She acted on Twin Peaks, one of my favorite weird ass television series of all time. She can tap dance. She can imitate Liza Minnelli, for God's sake.
Oh,
Now that's
well,
a
that maybe
show
that's what that
person.
part was. That sounded like the B-52s.
Probably. It was, um, and then the one song that definitely reminded me of somebody we just reviewed a couple months ago. Well, it might be even longer because time goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Indio. It sounded so much like Dexter and the Moon Rocks.
Mm.
And it had that same kind of, you know, I didn't really get a chance to listen to the lyrics as much on this album as I did the other ones that I liked more, so that's not really fair.
Mhm.
But what you said was, yeah, true. Second or third time around, I have to say I'm glad that I was sick this weekend, because today the notes that I added, listening my third, fourth time on some of these albums, gave me a different perspective.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
why
I was just not feeling good the end of last week and just didn't want to deal with it, right?
I
Because there's a
think that's
lot going on.
I think that's why, if you become a decent reviewer,
Hmm.
why they send things way in advance, because they don't want you to do this quickly.
Makes
But I
sense.
al- but I also think that's a disservice, because if you're expecting I'm back in the old world, yes, because you had no choice but to stick with those records. Your
Sure.
attention span had to be there because you're going to buy it anyway. This
Yeah.
is not the same. So
Yeah.
we're doing this in a different fashion than most who are listening to this maybe
Mm.
a dozen times if they can, because they only have to do one review. I don't know. I mean, come on.
Well,
I could name drop an album that I just sent out today, an album for today that I'd never heard up until yesterday. I
okay.
heard of, and I didn't listen to it till today. So
Well, so there's pros and cons to it,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess,
But I
right?
would love to get them a little. I mean, there are some people that send them ahead of time. But
Sure.
it's a very listenable record. And with the 80s
Hmm.
to 2025 here, fans should like the approach. It's a lot to be interested in, as well as what you're already drawn to. Sharon Van Etten is an artist that doesn't rest in a genre, generally speaking, but she does love the dreamy feel of it. I can tell. It is certainly fitting, and I don't know, that it indulges the energies of the production. Um, it's very clear that she is engaged, connected to it, which is good, because that doesn't happen for some artists. Um,
Yeah.
you know, what is it? From start to the 2 6-minute plus songs is flourish and finish and flourish and finish. Not only does the music hold her fading beauty vocal, because that's a great track, but it also audiomatically, yeah, I wanted to put cinematically, but that doesn't make any sense. Whether this album will be around at year's end, I'm not sure. It's a lot of great things going for it, possibly to be in that contention, but there's a risky business of the era of sound of synth, making it kind of sound wooden or robotic, and finding a vessel to work in for an entire album is working for and against it, which could be Trouble, which is one of the songs on the album.
Well, you're so clever today.
Oh, I know. That's the habit. All right, you were wondering, did we have any extras for you? Because I didn't even say anything, right? Well, it turns out we have 4, but actually 3. So we'll start off. We got into Drew Holcomb and Ellie Holcomb. I don't know why it's not Drew and Ellie Holcomb, but if you don't look it up that way, you won't find it. So it's Drew Holcomb and Ellie Holcomb. And the album is Memory Bank, and Americana folk with a twinge of all things we love about this genre, and it's vocal, lyrical, and musicianship that has a raw rockabilly kind of feel to it in most places. Start with the title track and you'll know how the ruckus is going to be. And the second track lets you know how smooth and Americana soul it's going to get. It's got this Bonnie Raitt meets the Blues Brothers kind of setup. Wonderful placement of harmonica, harmonies, and jangling guitars. But what else do we have? I'm going to give it to Deb, and then I'll kind of close around it, because I'm wondering how she probably was like,
okay,
how can Mark be doing a record like this?
Okay, this out of the albums we had this week, I figured this would be one that maybe we had a little bit of a discrepancy on how we felt about it. I know that they're husband and wife. I know that they both tend to do solo things. And for them to come together on this, maybe that's why it says Drew Holcomb and Ellie Holcomb. I don't really know. But they have 3 kids, and when they are doing an album together, they tour with their kids. They're Americana. They are, I felt that with my maturing appreciation of this kind of genre, it's coming at the right time for me to enjoy this album. It's not my typical type of music that I listen to. Had a little bit of a country feel, but bluesy as well. That Rain or Shine went right into that bluesy kind of more raw feel. Their titles and lyrics are very Americana. They talk about barbecues and stuff. I mean, come on. It's like everyday stuff that we do with our families. And whether this is your kind of music or not, I felt like it was genuine. I felt that the songs were genuine. I felt that the lyrics were genuine. I felt that they really are true to their family. It felt wholesome. It felt like we could all connect to what they were saying because it is family oriented. Maybe it's all bullshit. Maybe they got affairs going on and everything else that I don't know about. But this album made me feel like
that's going to be the next album, taking you to the sperm bank. No, whatever.
But like Never Let You Go, High Seas. It just felt like they were genuinely writing songs together that they both came from the same place in. And that was good enough for me with this. I mean, I don't know if I'd listen to any of their other stuff, but I felt that this was very cohesive and sent a message of what they were trying to send. And she writes children's books too. So who doesn't love that? Miss Ellie does. So that's where I came in, and you can just destroy me right now, boss.
Well, Drew Holcomb is the countryside of this, in my vocal hearing, right? So he's got, but the song that sets this album ablaze is Where You're Gonna Go.
You told me never mind, told me to keep my mouth shut, turn my head, don't judge. It's not my business to mind.
Saw the ashes from the fire last night. If it's trouble you want, then it's trouble you'll find. Gonna get yourself caught like a canary in a coal mine.
This is giving us a hint of that alt in their folk, in their country, you know.
And it's like a chain gang sound, a
Yeah,
chain gang
yeah,
feel
yeah,
of like,
yeah.
gotta work.
It lets you know that the band can take it to any level and have it still have a sensibility of what they're doing. Even the way the vocal is tinged in the production because it has an echo or something going on. It's messed with, right? It's got a hint of throwback. Reminds me of Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
Which is interesting considering what we're talking about, Americana, right?
Yeah.
Different kind of Americana with her.
Yep.
Love the duo. And I love the idea of it. I think when it comes down to it, Ellie's got the Americana blues side that feels excellent. And it's a good accompaniment. I don't know if I would do Drew by himself. I don't
think so. Oh, I don't think I would. I mean, I like country music. Not a huge fan, but I've got my country music artists that I gravitate towards, and they're more centered. They're not the twangy. But I think for this album, what and the songs they were writing, I think that part of their duo lended to the album itself.
Yeah, I love the and. I love bands like The Wind and the Wave, where they bring in the male, female vocal and the Civil Wars. You know, those kind of things that are done really well. This is a husband and wife. The other people are, you know, with Civil Wars, they were not, you know, and they didn't make it. So hopefully, as being married, I hope they make it because that's, I mean, gosh, if Tedeschi and Trucks can do it, everybody can do it. But
True.
yeah, good Americana if you like that stuff, and I do, and I thought it was really well done, and it had enough tempo changes and interesting instruments going on to make it work. It's good album, very good album. All right, we'll move on to Vukovi, Vukovi. My God has got a gun. All right, synth metalcore that's not even close to metalcore. Why do I say that? Because it does not have the punishment. It doesn't have the delivery, and the vocal never reaches or exceeds the trappings of the production around it. All right. I don't know how many musicians are involved in this, but this is not Evanescence. Okay. Although it does have that tendency to, you think it's going to go there, and it doesn't.
Yes.
I don't know why it doesn't, because it kind of needs it for me.
Yes.
A vocal crash or reach, but it just stayed there. The lyrics are woven well enough. I get it. Got a little bit of a female Marilyn Manson-ish kind of approach to certain aspects. Not as gregarious as him. I don't even know what the hell I just said there. I don't think this will connect over and in that genre without the elevated vocal. And I don't feel heartbreak, soul sucking, screaming out emotion. And I thought that's where, and I'm not saying you have to, right? The idea and everything here are right. Her God has got a gun. And apparently it's not either pointed at her or
it's not loaded.
Or she thinks it's a squirt gun, because the conviction of it, it's like I'm watching a movie and I don't believe the guy who's being held at gunpoint that's going to lose his life. Right. So, and I heard some people that talking about that she did the cover art herself.
Oh yeah.
And I'm some people really drawn to it.
Ew.
And I'm like, two tits in a hole. Maybe that's what they should have called it. I don't know. Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, Janine.
Yeah,
sorry, Janine.
I didn't get that part. Let somebody else do the artwork. My God has got a gun. I don't know. I lost it. I didn't catch it. But then again, I'm that old, and these other people that are reviewing the album were half my age. So, Deb, over to you, who's in the same boat I am.
Well, I don't want to just say bad things. I'm going to start with some good trivia. Okay, so the band was called the Wolves prior to Janine joining it. And she joined in 2010 and changed the sound so much that they changed it to Vakovi. That's what
Wait a
this,
minute. Really?
that's what it said. You might have
Alright.
to fact check me.
No, I don't have to fact check you. If this is the Wolves, the band that
And Vakovi means the wolves.
okay, well, I do like, go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so anyways, maybe that album cover, even though I thought it was kind of icky and I couldn't really understand, and then I'm like, what am I looking at? But one of their original bassists from the Wolves quit and became a barber. So I kept looking at this album cover going, you know how they used to do bloodletting to get people to feel better? I didn't know if there was something to do with that, but I don't know. I think that I would have liked this better um if I hadn't listened to the likes of Heather, Sharon, and Ellie ahead of this. Their vocals are way better than Janine's. I did get that feeling that you were giving of the Evanescence or Paramore or something like that. I felt like it was going to go that way and it never did. And it left me frustrated, I think. I thought the potential was there for it to be better. I really didn't like the first song, whatever that was. I didn't write that down for some reason, but it had like that weird undertone vocal that some of the bands have that I don't like. So she got into the second song, Gung Ho, that completely changed the off-puttingness to me, but not enough for me to go, this album is really great. It just, I'm glad
Yeah,
you didn't have it in the first three because I really didn't have much to say about it except, they can try harder. I think they do better.
Well, first of all, the title track, this is my life and my trauma.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's it. That's why I didn't write it down because how sad.
I didn't have so much of a problem with that, but when we got to track 5, fuck it up. Yeah, you fucked it up. Yeah. No. No. I don't know.
No.
After that, you lost me. SNO, which is snow. That's a good track. Misty Ecstasy. It's probably the one that everyone probably downloaded the most or whatever, probably. But
Okay.
yeah, I lost it. You lost me. It's okay. It happens. And by God, with our small viewership, who cares, right? But yeah, it's something that if you are a metalcore fan, you probably it'll drop easily for you into Nowhereville. If you're not, and you're trying to, it might be an easier soft metalcore. No, synth metalcore.
There, let's do that. Let's make up a name.
Yes, but it has their own sound. And if that's what they're the Wolves, I'll have to look that back up and see, because there's too many bands called Wolves. So that's slightly problematic. But anyway, we'll move on to our third, but not our final. Well, sort of, right? So I don't know. I like to explore different things. Right? Everybody knows this about me. All 206 of you.
Yep.
I'll go down any rabbit hole. So I see this. I like to cook. All right. I do some cooking. So I see a band called Cookin' Soul. Well, goddamn, yes. Why not? Right? I'll throw anything in the pot. And the album's name is Mac, M-A-C-K, Aroni Beats. All right. So now I'm getting a DJ. All right. And not just any DJ. He's from Madrid, Spain.
I know.
So
David Garcia is his name.
I was freaking going to make paella. And then I put it on and I went, nah, I don't think so. They've had some workings with MF Doom, if you're not familiar. But this is my first exploration into a chill beats kind of rhythm record. There's a familiarity to the early mid 2000s, like those chill mixes that used to come up in the double packets in the used bin for $1. Wait a minute.
Let's see. What'd you just get?
And I played it fast enough. Besides that.
Jeopardy song. Do, 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 do.
So these things would come in. This is Winter Chill.
Oh,
Right?
Winter Chill.
Lovely.
Oh,
Look, it opens up nice.
oh,
And
look at that.
look at
Oh,
right,
it's a
so
trifold.
it's a double, right? I got this for $1, right? So let me just give you. You got Porcelain by Moby, No Ordinary Morning by Chicane, Delirium Silence, which has Sarah McLachlan on it.
Oh, there you go.
Blue States do the Trainer Shuffle. Anybody else you might know? Nah. Oh, Paul Van Dyke, right? So this is Winter Chill, and of course it's 17 degrees outside. We got a foot of snow, blowing winds. The trees are falling down because of ice all over them. I can't even walk out my front door without having an icicle try to kill me. So this is perfect for tonight. Although we'll be watching the U.S. versus Sweden.
Oh, that's right.
Not that it matters. It's sort of U.S. versus Canada, but so here's so I can get into it. Okay, but why do they got to do a moniker like we do at the beginning of every one of these? So Beyond Your Radio comes up. Beyond Your Radio, right? That's every song. Cooking Soul. Cooking Soul. I can't even do it. It's Cooking Soul. They got to let you know that Cooking Soul wrote the song. Cooking Soul. Every song. I don't know. Maybe it's something you do. It wasn't necessary. So I'm going through this. Now, I did try cooking to the record, and while the starting with Cooking Soul became slightly annoying, I felt a bit of beat, chill, and trance happening to make things move. And I did feel the instrumental mix. This came, get in the stirring mood a little bit, and you start to move around the room, on my wood floor. I have a wooden floor in the kitchen, I'll never know. And swagger and cook, and I cooked the shit out of something. I don't remember what the hell it was, but I did it. And it wasn't bad. It had its moments. But I found out something else about this, but I'll let Deb go.
Yeah, because I'm dying to hear this. You gave me a little snippet, but I'm not sure. Well, it's interesting because I wanted to learn about this guy, and I was very surprised he was from Spain. Just would never, I never would have guessed, right?
Yeah.
He did say that when he's writing, if within 15 minutes it doesn't go anywhere, he starts over. So maybe that's why every song, Cooking Soul.
Okay.
Cooking Soul.
I got to go back to the
Yeah,
beginning.
reset.
The Chapter 1.
But it was funny because I even wrote in my notes, Mark, I go, what was that childish vocal in there? Until I started paying attention, because I'm usually working, and today I sat down and I listened to that album start to finish. And I finally, like after the third one, I went, oh, they're doing that on purpose on every song. It was like a commercial or something. It was very strange. But interesting enough, he's worked with people like Mac Miller and Nipsey Hussle and Wiz Khalifa. So I thought this was going to be a little bit more catchy.
Yeah.
More
chill and less catch.
Yeah. I mean I think it was the first song or maybe the second one, You Love Me, and then Best Friend. That was that R&B funky cool guitar.
Yeah, there was
kind of looked like the cover, kind of got that feel of what he was trying to go for, and soul. Jazz 3000 though, that song reminded me, I watched this Netflix special. I always tell you guys this weird stuff that I do. I think it was a documentary, but it was really a film that was supposed to be, obviously the star wasn't in it because she's dead, but it was about Marilyn Monroe. And it was much maligned. Critics didn't like it, but I liked it because it had this weird avant-garde way of filming and the way the music looked and the black and white and the just trying to show her as being glamorous, but really how sad and awful her life was. That's where I got from this song.
Okay.
But then he had to do it again and add a scratch to it. Was that just so that he could have the exact same song and then just go, I don't know.
There were some times where I felt like it had its similarities, and I don't know whether my mind was tricked into the similarities or not. I don't. But then
I don't know.
again,
It's
one
called
of the
Jazz. I
one of
don't
the
know. Jazz 3000 with a scratch. I don't know.
one of the
So
reasons that is because I actually listened to the album this came from.
okay. Well, there you go. So back to you, Mark. Look at, we
Yeah.
don't even rehearse this stuff.
No,
We got
no.
the dance going.
So there is. I think it's Macaroni with Mussolini. It's the name of the title. Or Mussolini's in it, or Mussolini's maybe in it. I found out that this is the instrumental version of this record. So I went back and I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna have some context, right? And yes, it's rap context. And I like the rap accompaniment a little better.
Okay.
It's lively, it's kind of tripped up a bit with the context, but altogether it falls in a wheelhouse that might be more suitable for someone in that wheelhouse. And for cooking, I could give you a list of other chill out beats records that would entice you a little bit more depending on what you wanted. But Cookin' Soul has a moniker, and I don't. It's for somebody else, I guess. I know.
And so
Cookin' Soul. So, what did you think of these releases? Let us know. We always love to hear from you out there. Like if like what you like, and if you don't like it, don't hit the thumbs down. There's no reason to do that.
no.
Yeah, yeah, he just wasn't for you, right? Well, we're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course, because there's no other venue better. We do articles, we do videos, that podcast, yeah, eventually. Go Beyond Your Radio. That's a real music appreciation channel. I'll thank Deb for joining and her sister Heather Maloney for
Oh,
putting on the
call me.
record.
Call me,
Yeah,
Heather. I'm
yeah,
waiting.
yeah. We will see you tomorrow for album listen challenge. We're going Morgan way. I
Yeah,
don't know
more.
if it's a road or what it is, but we're gonna go there.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching and happy listening.
Hi.